All right, we are recording. Let's get going. I know we're a little past 7, but we're going to get going so we can dive into this content. Thank you so much for being on here tonight. My name is Julie Voris. For those of you that I haven't met, I hope that I get to meet you this summer, just a few short months from now, right here in my hometown. I live at 131st Street here in Carmel, Indiana, and all of you, I hope, will be right here in Indianapolis, Indiana, at Street Zero. So 131 streets from where I'm doing this Zoom right now, all of you will converge in just a few short months for Summit 2019. And it's the most exciting thing ever for me. We've got some amazing content for you. How this started was a little idea that I had probably in the shower, because that's where all my ideas come, that let's do a little surge. And I thought maybe I would do it with my team. And then I brought it to the SuperStar Diamond coaches and they're like, no, let's do it together. And as teams always do, the more we collaborate, the better it gets. So tonight we've got 6 speakers for you. They're going to present on a variety of topics, and we're going to dive right in with Jessica. And you just heard Jessica on the National Wake Up Call this week, and she is back and she's gonna talk with us. And Jessica, I wanna make sure that I see you on here. Jessica, if you're on here and start talking, hopefully it'll pop right up into speaker view. Yes, no? Because Jessica's gonna talk to us about inviting. Okay, this is going well right from the beginning. Excellent. Excellent. Okay, so let me ask if Jamie, is Jamie on here? Let me see if I can find her in here. Hang on one second. Don't see Jamie either. Some of them are having a little bit of trouble getting in. Dara, are you on here? Y'all hold on. Oh, Dara. All right, Dara, you got on. Excellent. So I'm going to hit speaker view. I saw Jamie. Jamie is waving. Okay. Jamie, if you're on, can you unmute yourself? Yeah, I don't hear her. Okay, awesome. So Dara, if you're on, I'm gonna, Lord have mercy, you guys. This is so ridiculous. You know whose fault this is? This is Doug Moss's fault. I want everyone to know that this is Doug Moss's fault, okay? Let's just go with that. Hold on, let me see if I can find Jamie. Jamie, I unmuted you.
Yay!
Yay!
Hi! Can you guys hear me okay?
Myself.
Yay! Cool, okay. So this is awesome. I'm super excited to talk about recognition, and we're just really excited to do these calls. So I'm going to get right into this and just share what's worked for me and my team over the years. I'm so happy that this is now a vital behavior because it's so important. Ooh, dog. Okay, so every single dollar that we have invested into our business has paid us out tenfold. Like I say that, but I mean every single minute of it. Especially when you come to find out what your team, especially your leaders, love languages are. Obviously, you know, gifts can be a big part of that. So we like to recognize those coaches that are working, but not just the coaches that are working on the business side, also with their own personal journeys on the fitness side. So we do a lot of different transformation shout outs in our team pages, you know, and that can be something like progress photos, maybe someone helping one of their clients and how they shared it in a call to action, sharing different social media posts. Like I'm sharing these things in the team pages all the time. What that's doing is getting coaches involved and getting them excited about seeing what's working for coaches, what looks good, kind of learning all of that, and just kind of going with it.
Freezing and everything else. I have no idea. I can't see a thing.
Jamie, remind them again to mute themselves.
All right, guys, we've got to get you guys muting yourselves. We don't have full access, so I think we just got someone muted. Cool. So I just wanted to go through kind of what I do for our team on the weekly scale. So on Mondays, we have a weekly diamond update. So what this is are coaches who are pushing for diamond or have since lost their diamond and they're looking to get it back. Every single Monday, I will go through and do a leaderboard as to what these coaches are at, where they're at, essentially like Jamie Ennis, 8 active coaches and half Emerald. And then every single week I'm updating it and I'm shouting out the coaches who are basically moving up. So in parentheses, I will put moved up every single week that they're doing that. So what that does is creates a little bit of competition, friendly competition, a little bit of FOMO, but it gets the team excited. So when the girls are at the top for a while, like the rest of the coaches, the rest of the team starts pumping them up like, come on, girl, you're so close, you're so close. And it also gives those coaches who say they're pushing for diamond, who don't see themselves moving, it kind of gives them a little kick in the butt to be like, okay, if I want to be hitting diamond, I need to be moving forward, just kind of like that. But that has been a huge thing for my team. And that's something that I got the idea from one of my coaches who really just instilled that belief in the team. And it's just been an awesome thing that's been working for us, especially when those coaches get off that leaderboard and then they become diamonds on our team. Tuesday, we do team builders of the week. So that's obviously coaches who are recruiting coaches to their team, building their team, and they get their picture, whoever's the top recruiter, they get their picture posted, and the rest of them get labeled as to how many coaches they signed up. Again, that's creating some awesome team culture, cheering on those coaches who are adding to their team, and also you start to see the top coaches of the team, they're adding every single week. So kind of just another thing to show how you're building a business. On Thursdays, obviously that's rank advancement day, which we all know, but we also do a payday report. So my upline, Chelsea Pearson, did this with me when I was a brand new coach, and essentially it's shouting out team cycle bonus. So we want volume, we want team cycle bonus, but essentially we're sharing those coaches' team cycle bonus. So Jessica and Isaac, make sure you guys are muted. Thank you. Once they reach a 1,000+ category, we have 1,000+, we have 2,000+, and we keep going. Those numbers are not necessarily labeled out, but everything under 1,000 is exact for team cycle bonus. So essentially we want everyone to get into, we call it the 1,000+ club. And that has been my favorite form of recognition since I've been a coach. I've never stopped doing that because that motivated me the most. When I knew what my number was on Chelsea's leaderboard, and I knew that I wanted to beat out that person that was above me. But my coaches, a lot of them who are, the top elite coaches on our team, they're in those higher up categories. And then you start to see them keep moving, especially when we have coaches going from like the 500 to the 1,000 mark. You start to really see those coaches building their business. And then Friday, I do a weekly Success Club update with my personally sponsored coaches. So we do a Crushed It category, which is 10+, Success Club 10+. We do Made It, which is Success Club 5+. And then we do a Almost There category, which is obviously Success Club 1 to 4. Also, we are doing, the monthly the monthly Success Club update for my personally sponsored coaches, what they achieved for the month as to how many lives they changed. I shout out Success Starters, which is obviously huge this year for elite, and then also Success Club All-Stars. To go with the yearly recognition, of course, you're going to shout out your premier coaches, your elite coaches, but also shouting out those Success Club All-Stars who have hit Success Club for 12 months in a row. That is something that needs to be shouted out and shared with the public eye. So I think a big thing about recognition, which, we work for the most amazing company that we get recognized all the time for different things, is to share these things in the public eye. Because for those coaches who, might be newer coaches and, they might not be talking about coaching as much as they should, when they get a big post posted on their feed, all of their people who have been watching them start to see them rise up. And they're like, okay, what is this thing you've been talking about? Or, wow, it's actually become profitable for you. I feel like that's just the biggest thing that I like to shout out my coaches for, because it gets the people that have been watching them just that extra push and gives them the extra, excitement about their business. So we also have incentivized ranks. Ever since I started as a coach, I knew that I wanted to incentivize my coaches rank advancing, and I just think it's a fun thing to celebrate that I love giving back to my coaches. Essentially because when our coaches are pushing their business forward and they keep pushing, they're going to get closer to achieving financial freedom, whatever that means to them. And they're going to be the coaches that I get to work with for a very long time and be in this business with for a long time. So it just kind of shares that as well. So I wanted to share what I do for my incentives. Emerald, you get a $20 Amazon gift card to purchase your next PD book. Diamond coaches, when they hit diamond, they get a Tiffany necklace. That is something that has kind of become a team tradition tradition with a lot of my Diamond and Star Diamond coaches when they have their own diamond, which has been really cool. Star Diamond, you get flowers. 5-star Diamond, you get a Michael Kors crossbody. So all my 5 stars, we all have matching purses, which is super awesome. When you hit 15-star, you get either a gift or a trip. And also for Successful All-Star, Lululemon gift card. Who doesn't love that? Premier Coach gift card, and then Elite Coach, depending on the year, gets either a trip or a gift. So I love to incentivize, and those are all things that have worked for my team, and my coaches know what those things are, and a lot of them push for those incentives. And the last thing I want to talk about, which has been like the biggest part of our business that's changed, are offering leadership retreats every single year. So you don't have to have all the money in the world to make an awesome leadership retreat. My first one was just my active coaches. We spent a weekend together, very low budget. And over time, that's gone to a diamond retreat for my diamond coaches. And this last year, we changed it to be a leadership retreat. So what it is, a leadership retreat, is you have to hit Success Club for a couple months in a row. So typically it's 4 or 5 months in a row, which if you're a business builder, that shouldn't be hard because you know you need to do that anyway. But you have to be a new diamond coach since the last leadership retreat, or you have to have a new paid rank since the beginning of the year, assuming that your leadership retreat is in the middle of the year or later on in the year. And what we did when we changed that is we wanted our coaches to always be going forward. And that's not just with, pushing them all to 15-star, which some of them it's their goal, some of them it's different. But for my coaches that have multiple business centers, they can rank advanced in an additional business center and still qualify for that retreat, which is really awesome. So that's what works for me for recognition. And hopefully you guys are able to take away a tip or two.
Thank you, Jamie. I'm so glad we found you and we can unmute you. Yay! I'm going to try to find Jessica on here because I know she's going to talk about inviting. So let me see if I can find her and unmute her. There we go. Jessica, I think I've unmuted you. Yay!
Well, it's confusing because my name says Jessica Pasola on here and it's Jessica Jarvis, so that is a little confusing. But yay, thank you, Julie, so much. Thanks for doing this.
I'm glad we can unmute you.
I know, me too, girl. I'm excited, and Jamie, that was awesome as well. So, guys, I'm just going to share a little bit about inviting. It's something that I'm super passionate about. I truly believe that from the beginning, inviting really helps grow my business. What's up, Elizabeth? If you guys can mute, that would be great. But I really, truly believe that it's so important, and obviously it's a vital behavior, right? So it is important, but I truly believe that it has helped me grow in so many ways. I will be honest with you guys. When I first started, I'm a former worship director, and I was up in front of people all the time. I was talking to people, but the first time I invited somebody, I was literally shaking. I don't know what it was, but it was, she wanted to get on the phone right away, which, by the way, is a great thing. If you take a tip away, I think it's great to get on the phone with people so they can really hear your heart. But I just remember shaking because I was so nervous, and yet I was on the phone with her, so I was fearless in my action. And when I look at our business activity tracker and I see all the points about connecting and inviting, it's so important to take those action steps and to be fearless in your actions, even though I know that sometimes it's difficult. And really, truly, I think that what it comes down to, especially if you're a newer coach, what it comes down to a lot of times is sometimes fear, and we don't know what if we say something wrong, like that can be kind of embarrassing, or you might not know all the answers. And really, guys, what I have learned is that that's just pride. That's just pride. We don't need to worry about that, because the truth is you can't say the wrong thing to the right person, and really vice versa. You can't say the right thing to the wrong person too, right? So when it comes to inviting, I also just kind of want to give you an example. I do have a couple slides. I'm going to go through them really, really quick, and then I'm going to put them in the SuperStar chat so that if they want to share them, if you guys want to share them with your teams, go for it. If not, no big deal. But basically, I think it's really interesting that sometimes before people are coaches, they're like really excited, they're losing weight, they're transforming, they're like, oh my gosh, this is so great. And they're telling their friends and family about it. And then you put the word coach on it. And all of a sudden we become robots, right? Maybe not everybody, but it becomes this really super awkward, like, oh yeah, let me tell you about Shakeology at a 70+ superfoods from all natural farms around the world. And it's like this super like awkward, like, whoa, I'm uncomfortable. Like now I'm, you know what I mean? And I think the truth is that just be, just have a genuine heart when you're sharing, and just know that you joined this for a reason and you're passionate about it for a reason. Just let that show. I think we make it so much harder than it is. We have to have all these formulas and we have to have all these ways of saying things. And the truth is, guys, it's just share from your heart. Share boldly, be proud of what we get to do to help people, and let it be our responsibility to share, because we know that this is going to help them. We know that this works. Just to give you a little side example, and this might even sound kind of silly, but that's okay. When I think about,
you guys use that road and it goes between 31 and 4.
When I think about the kindergarten moms here in Naples, and we're standing in line and somebody's talking about their hair being crazy, frizzy, and the humidity. I know this is silly. It's real. I think about, Karen, if you can go ahead and mute yourself, love, that would be awesome. Thank you. When I think about that, if somebody says something about it, and I know Kendra number 26 hairspray is amazing, I'm going to tell them that, right? Like, this is as simple as just liking something and sharing it. So I'm going to say, oh my gosh, girlfriend, you need to go to Ulta. You need to get Kendra number 26 hairspray. It is life-changing, right? It's so simple. And yet, we tend to make it more difficult. So I share that example because really what we get to do can literally change somebody's life. It can change their health. It can change everything. So also the first 10 people that I sat down and invited, I was like, we're going to build an empire for Jesus and blah. And they were like, yeah, not into it, And I'm so glad that I didn't walk away from those conversations and throw in the towel. Sure, it was disappointing. I'm not going to pretend that it wasn't. But when I walked away from them, I thought to myself, man, that's really too bad, because I'm going to bring this thing right to the top. And at least I know that I didn't not invite them to be a part of it. I had that belief in it. And I just really, really encourage you guys to really, when you're talking to people, just totally engross it, encompass it in belief. Okay. You love what you're doing. You believe in what you're doing, and you believe in yourself, and affirm that every day is right. And also remember, guys, it takes the average person 7 times to hear about something before they commit. So that's why it's so important to not only invite once, but it's okay to invite again and again and again. A lot of my top coaches they said no to me more than 2 to 3 times at least, right? So I continued to show them that I care. I continued to follow up with them, and I continued to invite them again. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen just very briefly here, guys. We don't have a ton of time because we've got a lot more speakers. And somebody go ahead and tell me if you don't see my screen. But I put together, and I'm not going to go through these one-on-one, but I put together some example posts of how you can just invite in case you're a newer coach. You can kind of check that out, whether you have a transformation or not. There's some examples in there for you. And then, of course, lots of times I'll use posts as just an example to be able to start a conversation. So even though I know not everybody has seen my post, I can go into a conversation and say, hey, I don't know if you, after you say something personal, I don't know if you saw my post, but I'm, doing this, and I'm really excited about it, and I would absolutely love it if you'd want to check it out. So, so you can do that, but lots of it is just follow up with comments and then inviting personally. A lot of times people see things, but they're not ready to make that step. And so when you make that step to be able to personally invite them, it changes the whole game. And then I don't notice, by the way, I don't send them like super long message. It's just a short little paragraph. And then I have a graphic that we use in the Dynasty to kind of explain our challenge group and then different prices at the bottom. And so when they say yes, they want more information, you can simply send that and just say, what questions do you have? I always end in a question. Same thing if you like a post, I just change the wording a little different. And then for you newer coaches on the surge, I wanted to add this in here for you. Just if you have hot market, What I mean by that is best friends, family, all that kind of stuff. I know that it can be hard to be a minister in your own hometown sometimes. Sometimes we have family members that totally support us, and sometimes we don't. But I wanted to give you an example of how you could call and talk to a hot market person that you just want to reach out to and ask for their honest feedback from the products in your group. And that's a great way to get them started. And I did that with my uncle, and he ended up losing 7 pounds in a week. So with Shakeology. So it can be pretty powerful. I'm not going to go into Instagram or Facebook stories, but I did put in here an example for you of what you can do. In the Instagram story, I'll often put, if you're interested in the question box, I'll tell them to post their email. And then if they do, I put a little email example in there for you of what you can send them. And then if they're ready, I also show what I reply. And I also put in there the option of a discount coach. If you want to offer them that option, I always do. And I gave the exact wording on how I do that. And then, I even gave some examples of people that are just watching your stories, how you can invest in going to their page and then invite. It's really great to show people that you're investing in them as well. And then when they respond, I gave that. And then all you need to know about objections and a response formula to your inviting, guys, is age old: feel, felt, found. I know how you feel. I felt the same way. And what I found is that Shakeology is a meal replacement. So we ended up saving money. So there's an example there. And then lastly here, I'm just going to go through this for inviting coaches. I love to breadcrumb by sharing my story in posts, and then I love to have posts where I actually give a call to action for them to join and be a part of what I'm doing, whether that's a sneak peek. I like to do sneak peeks with my coaches, which a lot of you guys probably do with your uplines as well. So I do that, and then I also really, really recruit and invite to coaching within my challenge group. So as a coach, we are encouragers, and I look for people with the gift of encouragement. So people that post in my group, an example is in this, and you'll have it, but somebody that is an encourager, that's reaching out, that's excited, I'm going to invite them into coaching. And even if they say like, yeah, cool, or no, not into it right now, I'll still invite them to help me post within the current challenge that we have. And I do that because then I basically help them start to coach before they're even a coach. And honestly, a lot of times that can help bridge the gap for people to kind of get those fears out of the way. And like I said, it takes the average person 7 times to hear about something before they commit. So that's a way for them to kind of get involved and get their feet wet. And then I'll introduce them to the group as a 21-day challenge coach. I give them our copy and pasteable little template, and then they can start being a part of it with you, which is great. And then, of course, challenger spotlights for people that say no. You can kind of highlight them that way. And I've honestly, a lot of coaches have started their business this way, where they get highlighted even though they're not quite sure if they want to coach. And then all of a sudden people are asking them, they're like, maybe I need to do this. People are really interested. And then I kind of go into an inviting plan on those slides that I'm not going to share with you because I shared it on the National Wake Up Call, but I put it in there in case it's helpful for you to invite to local events or different stuff like that. I think it is so great for us to invite in all different avenues. So we're talking challengers, and then we're talking about people that you just want on your team, right? And then inviting them to local events. I became a coach after a Super Saturday. So I talked about that on Monday, but it's so important for us to remember that people are going to start at different times and they're going to start in different ways. But inviting is such a fundamental, foundational piece of how people can truly get started. So anyway, I hope that was helpful for you guys. I'll let Julie take over again, and I will share that document with our chat, with the SuperStar chat, and then they can share that with you guys if they feel led. But thanks again for having me.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you. And remember that Jessica just did the National Wake Up Call, so you can find her on there as well. And she is going to share those slides. So, okay, next up. Dara Distel, I think you're on here. I saw you. I've got to find you, though, so that I can unmute you. Found you. Okay. You are unmuted.
Yay.
Yay!
Thank you so much. This is an experience that we can grow from and maybe even laugh about maybe one day. But thank you so much, Julie. Such an honor. And I'm so passionate about this topic, this vital behavior, personal development. And I want to start off by sharing a story that maybe lends credit to the volume, that speaks volume to the power of personal development. I think one of the cool things as coaches is that we become collectors of stories, right? So our vulnerability, our willingness to unlock some of the pieces and share our story allows other people, gives them permission to do the same, right? And I think not only does it allow you to unleash some of the just your inner power, but it also is something that you can give to other people, right? So you can give maybe a story of maybe a single mom, you can share Jessica's story, or someone that just had a baby that's been successful with this business. So collecting those stories, because they always say facts tell, stories sell, and there's so much power in stories, right? You can rattle off all the ingredients of Shakeology, but people are connected to how it's going to help them, right? The energy, the reduced cravings, right? Help sharing like a challenger that's been able to overcome maybe their fast food, addiction. So always know the power in your story and helping other people, connecting people to stories. So I wanted to share the power of personal development in my own experience. I was a coach that was stuck at Emerald for 2.5 years. And the story that I kept telling myself was that I couldn't get to Diamond, right? That no one wanted to build this business with me, that I couldn't find any team builders. And the longer I held on to that, the longer that was my reality. And it wasn't until I really took a deeper dive into personal development that things started to change for me, right? And I always say our business is like a personal development business with a compensation plan attached to it. Because the more you grow yourself, the more you're able to grow your impact, grow your business, grow your belief and your mindset and your confidence, because it takes the same amount of energy. Like I realized the things that I was telling myself of why I couldn't do this, it took the same amount of energy to lean into faith and all the reasons why I could, right? Because clinging to the fear, to the doubt, to the worry doesn't protect us from the things that we fear, doubt, and worry, right? It just makes us live through the misery. Maybe not even, what if that thing doesn't happen, right? What if that thing doesn't happen? If it does, then we have to live through it twice, and we have to live through the misery twice, right? And a lot of times the fear that I hear from my coaches is, well, what would other people think? I'm worried about their judgment. Well, honey, they're judging you anyway, right? Invite them on in, invite them, give them front row, and give them something to really watch, right? Give them something to watch. Most times though, it's not other people's judgments. Like they're so busy living their own life. It's our own, what's happening in between our own two ears, right? What's happening in our own head. And with engaging in personal development, you really start to drown out a lot of that negative self-talk. There's no room for that because you're filling yourself with positivity. You're filling your cup. You're filling yourself with all the things that you need to do to go live that life so that you can grow into the diamond coach, to the star diamond coach, to the superstar diamond coach. It's going to require a different you, and it's part of your growth journey. And that's what I love about personal development is it's just that. It's personal. You get to make it work for where you are in your journey now, right? So where I was as an emerald stuck for 2.5 years is different than the personal development I engage in now. So it's very personal to you. You get to find an area that you really want to grow. Is that time management? Is that confidence and belief? Is that leadership? Is that relationships? Is it, around nutrition with our UPF? What is the area that you want to focus on and grow, and be intentional? So right now I want you to write down the one area that you really want to focus on. Write it down so you can do it every day and focus on it. Be very intentional about the growth in that area. And I have a whole list of personal development recommendations that I'll also share, like Jessica. I'm going to share it in our SuperStar chat so that you can pick that area and you can find a personal development that's going to speak to you where you are now. Because this is the thing. There's a plethora of personal development out there. There are so many paths that you can take with it. If something is not lighting you up inside, if it is not evoking this emotion and belief to go out there and do amazing things, and it's not the right one for you right now, right? So many times we get personal development recommendations and I'll start an audio or I'll start a book and I just can't get into it. It's not for me right now. I may come back to it and like all these light bulbs and ahas are going off. So find the one that really lights you up and is going to move you into action. So I want to go back and share being an Emerald coach that was stuck there for 2.5 years, you know, living that self-fulfilling prophecy that I couldn't find any team builders, to immersing myself into the community, to immersing myself into personal development, not only making time for it, but making the commitment to grow myself, because the greatest resource that you have is yourself, is your growth journey. So the same time that I was stuck at Emerald, it took us the same amount of time to reach SuperStar. And so I think it's stories like that that help us see ourselves in some of that, right? Maybe some of the things that you're held back by. And so I think with personal development, there's really 2 paths that you can take with that. 2 paths that, one is something that's very uplifting, right? It just re-energizes you. It gets a fire in your belly and it helps you go out there and take action, right? Some of my team, we do power hours. We pump the music and we get in the zone for inviting, right? Or something that inspires you to have really good content on social media. So it's those things that just evoke a very strong emotion in us, right? Really get us fired up. And there's the other path, I think, that really is something that is going to help you further your knowledge in a certain area. So for example, I want to focus on leadership right now, growing my leadership skills. So something that I actually sit down and I'm intentional in like dissecting some of the laws of leadership. So I need to like devote that time in my day to sit down and like bury myself into this personal development so I can grow in that area. Whereas some of the other uplifting ones, I mean, I have it going all day long, right? Some of my team, they're asking, how can I get in my personal development? Some of my team, even my challengers, I had a Zoom with my challengers, and one of my challengers commutes an hour each way. So 2 hours spent in the car. I've helped connect her to personal development. And boy, I've really seen the shift in her mindset, in her energy, and her confidence in herself. And the same with my team. So I have it playing when I'm getting ready for the day, when I'm brushing my teeth, when I'm making the kids breakfast, when I'm in the car. And it's good for the kids too, right? It's good for them as long as the language is appropriate. But it's one of the things that when my team comes to me and they're struggling, like, have you been doing your personal development? And 9 times out of 10, they're like, no, I haven't been doing as much as I should. So it's, I think one of the things that it's easy to like not make time for or not think that it makes a big impact, but it's one of the things that makes the biggest impact. Because when you really start to get clarity in where you want to be, in where you want to grow, and the impact that you want to make, and the legacy that you want to leave, it leaves less room for distractions, right? Have you ever been stuck in the newsfeed, like looking for answers? It's like opening up the fridge, looking for something in the fridge that's going to make your life happy, like looking for answers. Same thing in the newsfeed. The answers aren't there. It's in your vitals, right? The answers are in your vitals. And so I know when I'm lacking that inspiration, I'm lacking clarity, I'm losing joy, it's because I've not done enough personal development. And so when you get really clear about what it is that you want and giving yourself permission to say, it's okay for me to want more. It's okay for me to have these rank goals or these income goals or this impact goal. Giving yourself permission through the personal development, your personal growth, allows you to really gain clarity around the process, right? So the process of your vital behaviors, instead of like dreading them and avoiding them, you really get excited because you see the outcome. You see it getting closer to where you want to be and the life that you want to live. So I think that's really all that I wanted to say about personal development is write down the area that you want to grow. I'll send you a list of personal development recommendations. And just remember, like, you have such a unique gift. Nobody else can do the things the way that you do them, or say the way that you say them, or impact the world in the way that you can. And once you start to uncover some of those things, you're really going to see the true gift that you have and make the impact that you want to make. So that's it, Julie.
Yay, thank you so much. It's so interesting that we're talking about personal development today. I was listening to a podcast this morning or this afternoon when I was doing some errands around town, and the quote, on the podcast was you can't grow your business unless you grow yourself. And I feel like that we've said that, a lot, but we forget that. We come into our Coach Online office expecting inspiration and expecting motivation, when in reality, we have to fuel ourselves with the inspiration and motivation and bring it to our business. The business won't grow until we do. So personal development, it's the key. It's the one that sort of gets shoved down a lot, but it's the key to everything in this business. So thank you for sharing that. I am going to unmute Ruth, who so kindly raised her hand for me so that I can find her. Let's see if I can unmute her. Ruth, are you there? I unmuted you. Try again. Unmute. We'll try it one more time.
Okay, now.
Okay, yay!
Can you hear me? Okay, we're good? All right, woohoo! Hi, guys. I'm going to be speaking to you about being a product of the product. Everything that you're hearing tonight is super important, every vital behavior, but I'm not going to lie, I'm super partial to being a product of the product. One, because it's what it's done for my health and my well-being, but also because that's played into so many other areas of my life. So I came into this business in the middle of 2014, July, and my business took off very quickly. And I want to show you what I think is one of the main reasons why I was able to establish trust and credibility and gain new challengers and new coaches to build this business with me. So I'm going to I have like one photo. All right. So this is, I hope you guys can see this. I can't see any of you anymore. So I'm going to assume that you can see this. We're going to keep moving. Dara, can you see this? Okay, cool. Thank you. So this is the first 2 years of my business. I came into this business and I saw it for literally the simplicity it was. I didn't see teams. I didn't see Diamond. I didn't see all this other stuff. I didn't see a back office to learn. I didn't see a catalog to learn. Honestly, my first friend got 21 fixed, and I said, this is my job to get the best results possible with my program again and again and again and again. And so I started my program. I did 21 Day Fix like 2 or 3 times through, and I started that program. Then I went to P90X, and I went to 3 Day Refresh. Then I went to Max 30. Then I went to Body Beast, Hammer and Chisel. It was one program after a next, over and over and over again. And when I approached these programs, it was not just, oh, let's dilly-dally through them. Let's see what happens. Maybe I'll have, all the cheats, every night of the week, because frosting is my favorite food. Fun fact. So I'm not like a am I back? I have no idea. all the challenges.
Oh my gosh, all the things tonight are happening.
What is happening? Okay, so you can hear me. Where did I pop out at?
I mean, you just closed out your screen.
Okay. Like, I have no idea. So I got my first program in the mail, and I just said, this is my job to get the best results possible. And I didn't dilly-dally in that. I didn't play around with that. It was, how do I learn this nutrition plan? How do I make sure I actually work out every day? Do we have any like bandwagon workouters? Because that was me before this. I was the yo-yo dieter. I was the girl who would go to the gym for like 5 days, and then I'd like miss a day, and then I'd never go back for the next year. I also won the Biggest Loser twice in my old job before becoming a Beachbody coach. 2 years in a row, I got second place. If that tells you the type of person I was coming into this, I had no commitment. But when I joined this business, I said, I want a business. I want to change my life. I wanted to change my financial situation. I wanted to look in the mirror and love who I was and be proud of what I'd accomplished. And I knew that was going to take commitment and work. And I saw it as honestly the kind of the easiest thing ever. Get results and share them on social media. I had no Instagram following. I actually thought hashtags were just like funny little quotes you put at the end of your thing, your caption. So I had no Instagram following. I had no social media experience, but I did have a commitment to my program. And so I read that nutrition plan from front to back, and I made it a commitment to do my workout every single day and press play. And I think I had cut off here. I am not a fitness freak. I am not a nutrition freak. I'm the girl who loves frosting and pizza and cupcakes and give me all the wine. Yes, please. However, I took this very seriously because, again, I had a vision and goals for my life that I wanted to accomplish. And I thought to myself, how was I going to bring any other challenger or customer into this with me? Or how was any coach going to join me if I didn't show them what was possible? So not only was it my job to do the program, I was also sharing on social media, which I'm not going to go into a ton, but I'm going to tell you one strategy that I used that has forever helped me hold myself accountable, right? I stopped falling off the wagon 5 years ago when I joined this business. And that was every single Monday, without fail, I posted my current progress pictures for whatever program I was doing. And then in between that, so like on Wednesday or Thursday, I would post my lifetime transformation. So the biggest I've ever been to my current physique. So let me tell you what the Monday progress picture does. And I tell all of my new coaches to do this. You have your program in 7 days, you should be able to post your first progress picture. Day 7, Monday, you're going to take those pictures. You're going to do a side-by-side of day 1 to current. You do not have to have on a bikini or a sports bra. I hear that all the time. Just make sure you have on a fitted tank top or fitted shorts so they can see your figure and see how it's changing. But you guys, I did this for my entire business. Go look. I'm pregnant. I'm like pregnant, and I just posted my 21-day fix extreme results. And my muscles got bigger. Hell yeah, for being pregnant and strong. Okay, so like I'm still doing this to build my business and build my credibility and show people what we can do with these programs. We have traveled internationally more times than I can count. We went to Australia for a month. That's where I did all of Country Heat and completed that program there. First time I did 21 Day Fix Extreme was we were doing a Euro trip, and we've moved 3 times in the past year. So often I hear coaches say to me, I'm moving, I'm busy, I'm tired, I'm pregnant, I am all the things, right? We are all the things all the time. But here's how I see it. Health and fitness is my job. So I pick a program and I stick to it. Even if I don't like it, even if I don't like that program, I'm going to see it through. And I have always learned so much from this. And what does that also help me do with my business? I'm able to help my customers and point them towards programs that are going to work best for them and their goals and where they're at with their body and help them push through. So I've built that credibility there. So I want to ask you guys, I'm going to close out here. I'm actually doing pretty good on time, but I want you guys to do a self-evaluation. So in the chat thread right now, what day of what program are you on currently? So we chat that in. Look at all those chats. Woo! Way to go. Are you following by the book 2B mindset or portion fix? And when I say by the book, obviously we're all humans, right? We're not going to be like perfect all the time, but the goal is, right, to get better every day, getting better, progressing ourselves every day. So are you following your nutrition plan so you are progressing, so you are taking steps forward? I will tell you this. I've always said this, my body is my business. And I've always tried to push it to the next level, but I'm that type of person. I like that challenge. And so I did my first bikini competition using only hammer and chisel nutrition plan, hammer and chisel program, only that, no coach, no nothing. And I rocked it up there. So like, that's the power of our programs, but you don't know it until you stick to it and commit to it. So are you following a portion or any 2B mindset, portion fix, our nutrition plans as they are intended to be followed? The next thing, I want you to look at your phone just very quickly. When was the last time you posted your current progress pictures for your current program? Can somebody go to your social media site and see what you're doing right now? Do they have any idea that you're following a program? I can't even tell you how many questions I get asked, just like, what program are you doing? Oh, what are you doing now? So when was the last time you shared your progress with the world and updated them like, hey, and it's such an easy social media post. Day 3 of 21, here we go, right? It also simplifies your life so much. And you continue to try the new products and programs, right? Because it's not just programs. We have beach bars. Hallelujah, they're so good. I am definitely team chocolate. Hold on, now I'm going to butcher it. Almond chocolate cherry. That is my team. And I'm still team lemon. We have my husband is team fruit punch on the Energize. Now it drives me nuts because I have 2 in my pantry and more clutter because of Energize. Why can't we like the same thing, right? So what are you trying the products? Are you trying the programs? Are you trying the new releases? Every time a new release comes out, I'm trying it. Why? Because it's something new, because there's added hype, because we get to be in the test group with the super trainers, right? When you are the first coach to join that group, right? So we all have that option these days to be in the super trainer test group as a coach. And then my clientele is seeing me do a new program, and trust me, they are interested just because they're seeing me do a new program they haven't seen out there before. Okay, so evaluate yourself in regards of your own health and fitness. Where are you at right now? Where do you want to take yourself? Challenge yourself over the next year to progress and to make better and to use all of our programs to do so. And in that, you're going to inspire other people. You're going to learn more about health and fitness, and you're going to feel freaking awesome. And when you feel freaking awesome, other people are going to want to join you. All right, I think that's all I have.
That was amazing. That graphic, those pictures, that is so powerful. There's a reason why before and afters work. Yes, they're so powerful. And for folks that don't have the 100-pound weight loss or whatever that is, please don't underestimate what you do have, because we're reaching lots and lots of people in all places on their journey. Not everyone has 5 pounds to lose. Not everyone has 50 pounds to lose. That's the beauty of our products and our programs, is we can reach a lot of people. So take your pictures and share your story. No matter where you are in your journey, it will resonate with someone. Okay, I think we are ready for Bonnie. So I've got to find her. Bonnie's going incognito tonight. She's under someone else's. Bonnie, I think you're unmuted.
I'm here. I did it.
You're Doug Boss tonight.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
Okay.
This is an adventure in Zoom.
This is the wild, wild west of Zoom right now. I don't even know, but thank you guys so much. Everyone has crushed it so far, and thank you so much for hanging on with us while we figure out all these technical difficulties. So I'm actually a little bit nervous because if you guys have ever heard me speak before or seen a call of mine on YouTube, I usually come super prepared. I love having bullet points and, exact things to say, but tonight I really, really want to come to you guys from a super vulnerable place, because most of you guys know me as, obviously I'm a SuperStar Diamond because we're running this mastermind together, 15-star Diamond coach, 3-time top 10, Million Club, all those fancy things. But I really want to illustrate to you guys that we are vulnerable and go through really rough times too. My topic tonight is social media, but I really want to illustrate that you can be at any point of your life, at any point of your business, from the first day that you sign up till the day that you're a triple 15-star diamond making, $70,000 a week. And you can still show up in different ways on social media and tell your story on social media, no matter what trial, no matter what place you're going through. Because a lot of the things that I hear from my coaches are, I don't know how to get through this tough time and still share on social media, or no one's signing up. What do I say on social media? Or how do I fill my challenge group when I don't feel like posting? And I really want to tell you guys that this past year has probably been the hardest year of my life. My daughter is about to turn 1 in a month, and I have been battling some extremely serious postpartum depression. And for a while, when she was first born, I'm going to get really emotional because my business was my love for so many years, my one and only love. And I built this business I had no kids, I had 2 dogs, and I had a husband who was gone, 12 hours a day. and I didn't know anything else. And I really was not expecting postpartum depression whatsoever. And I was doing great when she was first born. I was running challenge groups with all these pregnant mamas, sharing my pregnant journey. I actually loved pregnancy. It was amazing. I got to connect with all of the moms who I never got to connect with before, and I got to make such incredible strides in my business. My following grew like crazy on Instagram. I was like, hot dog, I don't know what everyone is talking about. Pregnancy is freaking awesome, and it worked so well with this business. And then came the storm. About a couple months in, 6 months or so, actually probably 7 or 8, I was still cruising. I was doing well. I was sharing Evelyn's journey with all of my followers. I was filling my challenge groups, still hitting the numbers I always hit, and still having that feeling like, I don't know what everyone's talking about. And then all of a sudden, at about 7 or 8 months, I got hit by a Mack truck. I didn't want to go outside. I didn't want to talk to anyone, let alone share on social media. I would have these days where I would be at the bottom of my shower, hysterically crying, thinking, how can I run my business if I can't even be a person and take care of my daughter? That's the level that it got to. I had serious physical symptoms. I ended up in the hospital twice. They couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. There's still some things that they don't know what is wrong with me, but my point is, I was at such a dark place that I thought, how could I possibly be this person? I've stood up on stage at Summit and talked about social media. I've stood in front of my team and given countless presentations about how to share and how to be vulnerable and how to tell your story. And I was literally at this place where I thought, what is this all for? Does this even work? Has what I said before even, can that still be true for me? That's the point that I was at, and it made me so sad. And then probably one of the most beautiful moments of my life happened. I had a retreat scheduled for some of my top coaches, and I had gone back and forth. Should I go? Should I not? Should I tell them what's going on? And the first thing that all of these girls did, all of these, I think there was 12 of us there total, is they sat me down and they said, are you okay? We miss you. What's wrong with you? We can tell that something's wrong. We're here for you. Let us help you. And in that moment, I thought to myself, okay, these girls who I met through telling them stories on the internet, and we, of course, now we know each other so well because we've been on retreats together and been running our teams side by side. It touched me so deeply that I can meet someone on the internet through telling my stories with a freaking program and a freaking shake and a freaking business. And they can know me well enough and care about me enough to say, we see you. We know you're not you. Let us help you. I don't know if you guys understand how important it is for you to share your stories on social media, that there are people who care, that there are people that are waiting for you to share, that there are people that you are helping, right? So for all this time that I was in this dark place, I was really operating from a place of kind of, I was emotionally invested in what we call in sales sort of the devil's cocktail. I was flooded with this adrenaline, with this cortisol. And every time I went to my social media, I thought to myself, I've got to hit Success Club. For the first time in my business in 5 years, and I've never said this out loud, I've only hit Success Club 10. In my entire career, I've never had lower than 50 Success Club points. And these past couple months, I've had 10 Success Club points, and I was not at the top of the board of my team. And that's really vulnerable for me to share because that's not me. And I was just getting by, and the month would start and I'd be stressed out about hitting Success Club. And I know there are people who relate to me right now. I know there are coaches right now who it's April 7th and you have no prospects and you have no Success Club points on the board. And I'm going to tell you how you pull yourself out of that hole and how you show up on social media the way that everybody wants you to be showing up on social media, right? You tell your story on social media from a place of what we call an angel's cocktail or the good hormones. Everyone comes to social media because they want to feel something. They want to feel love. They want to feel happiness. They want to feel support, right? And that's initially how I connected with all of these women who saw me for me and were concerned about me. And now we have these relationships. That's not because I was just posting on social media about drinking a shake and doing a workout. That's because they knew my story. They knew my life. They knew everything that I was going through, and they could tell when I wasn't saying that on social media, right? So I want you to think about your social media. Are you telling stories through that stuff? Or are you just saying, oh, got my workout in? Are you surface leveling it? So I want you to really think about something. These are the 3 emotions that you should be eliciting and giving off in your social media: dopamine, oxytocin, and endorphins. A lot of times when we enter a month with that kind of like urgency and on the edge of our seat and oh my God, kind of scarcity feeling, we're pushing out adrenaline and cortisol, right? All of our posts are, you should be eating this and you should be following this plan and I got my workout in. Did you get your workout in? And all that does is push people away. I can't tell you how many followers I lost during this period where I was completely surface level and completely pushing things onto people, because people don't want to feel that anxiety that you're feeling, right? People want to feel happiness and support and all of those lovely feelings. So I want you guys to focus on, and I'm going to give you 3 examples: dopamine, oxytocin, and endorphins. I'm going to give this speech in detail on a bigger stage later on, so it'll be kind of expanded. But dopamine, when you post with dopamine on social media, it elicits things like focus, motivation, energy, right? So I'm going to give you an example of this. When I was in college, I went to college in the inner city of Philadelphia, and one street over was really, really terrible. My college was really great. I went to St. Joseph's University, private Catholic university, amazing. But a couple streets over, you got to watch out when it's nighttime, right? West Philly, not too great. So I was at a party one night. I was a freshman. I literally, when I got to college, I was like, wait, no one checks if I come home and at what time? Like, I was like, woohoo, let's go. So we were at a lacrosse guys party. I was with 2 of my friends and 2 guy friends we had met. It was late. We come out of the party. We come around the corner, and 2 guys with ski masks over their face, well, stockings over their face and hats on their heads, jump out from a bush with 2 guns and pointed them right at our heads and said, give us everything you have. And it was kind of like in the movie, like I felt like I was in a movie when you kind of see that and you kind of think, oh, that's no big deal. Like it was kind of like I was in this other place, and I had my hands up and I looked to the side and my one girlfriend was crying and handing her purse over. And I went to reach for my purse, and the guy got really nervous and scared, and he pushed towards me and put the gun right up to my head and said, how bad do you want to know what he said? That is a true story, but I'm not going to finish it to prove a point. That was dopamine that I was eliciting from you with that story. Dopamine makes you more focused on the story. It gives you motivation to hear the end of it. It gives you energy because you want to hear the end of that story, right? That is how you elicit dopamine in a story. Number 2 is oxytocin, which basically makes people feel trust. I heard Ruth mention how she established trust and credibility with her people, right? How you elicit trust and credibility is oxytocin, by telling stories, not by saying, here's my before and after, and I didn't struggle through anything and it was totally easy. No, she worked super hard for each of those before and afters, and she tells those stories when she posts them. So I'll give you an example of oxytocin. It's basically empathy. I was about, I think 6 or so weeks pregnant, and I had a really bad pain in my bottom right side, and I called my doctor, and he said, well, we can't help you here. You know, you've got to go into the hospital and check and make sure everything was okay. At the time, Andrew was still in the reserves, and he had to go out to California, which is 3,000 miles away from here. So I was here alone with the dogs and newly pregnant. And I get to the hospital, they run a bunch of tests, do some ultrasounds, and the doctor comes in and he says, you know, we've checked everything out and you look okay. You look healthy, but I really need to tell you something. The pregnancy is not viable. And I think in that moment, I knew in the back of my head, I said, no, it is viable. I feel sick. The doctor told me I'm pregnant. I don't know what you're talking about. And he said, I'm telling you, your pregnancy is no longer viable. There is no baby. And basically, on that day, the ER at this hospital told me that I had a blighted ovum, which is basically when there is no baby that grows inside the sac. It's just an empty sac. And in that hospital room, alone, underneath the littlest blanket ever, shivering cold, I had to call my husband, who is 3,000 miles away, and say, well, there is no baby. Can you come home? And he flew home 3,000 miles that day, and we had to wait an entire 7 days to go back to my doctor and find out that there actually was a baby. And as soon as they put the ultrasound, if you've ever been pregnant, you know, up there, not on your belly, and said, we actually do hear a heartbeat, I started hysterically crying. Andrew started crying. And she said, but you have to go to the bathroom first so I can have a better view. And I ran down the hallway so fast without any underwear on, with that little open gown, down the hallway at my doctor's office and ran back. But that is an example of how you establish trust, credibility, how people bond with you, telling real stories from your life, not just surface level. And then endorphins, I won't give you an example of this because everybody knows how to do endorphins. Happiness, laughter makes you smile. There's this video of this couple getting married, and the woman has literally overdosed on endorphins. Like, she cannot get through her vows without hysterically laughing. She's just so hopped up on endorphins. But I want to give you a real life example of what I'm talking about in terms of our product, and then I am done, I swear to you. Let me just share my screen really quick, and I will tie it all up. This is my beautiful coach, Mary Jane, and she's probably going to freak out that I am sharing, but I wanted to give you an example of kind of a newer coach who shared an incredible story, and this kind of actually combines all three beautiful hormones. She basically tells a story about when she decided to get sober, which has absolutely nothing to do with Shakeology, absolutely nothing to do with filling her challenge group, but she told a real story about the exact moment with her mom and her sister about when she decided to get sober. She goes on to say, I slept 5 hours in the car on the way back. The next day I decided I was done drinking. I went a year straight. In the past 8 months, I've crumbled to peer pressure. However, it was a good reminder why I don't drink. And for the drink in the picture, I now cheers my smoothies because they make me feel good. I spend money on them each month knowing that I feel the return of investment. Alcohol is a bit different. It's like paying to feel like shit tomorrow. No, thank you. I love this post because what Mary Jane is doing here is she's telling a personal, private story. Everyone's bonding to her. They feel more connected to her. But now she's tying in our product, right? This is very opposite of surface level. People are emotionally invested in her. They're emotionally invested in why she's drinking this thing, right? That is what I mean by eliciting those hormones. So just look at your social media tonight. You know, the people that eventually join your challenge groups and the people that eventually join your team, they will become your people. Make sure that you are telling the right stories and eliciting the right hormones and being as vulnerable as possible so that when it comes time that for those people to know you, just like my coaches know me, you can feel like, you know what, I've done a solid job attracting the exact right people, and here we are together for a purpose. Thanks, guys.
Are you kidding me? Like, what? Who's following that? Doug Moss, aka Bonnie. Moira, good luck with that. That was amazing. I'm hoping you're flushing that out at Summit.
Oh my gosh. Same here. Wow.
Were you like, what the heck now?
Can you hear me, Julie?
Yes, I can hear you. You are good to go. Bonnie, thank you so much. How do I
follow that? Like, Bonnie, like, oh my gosh, I love you, girl. I love you. And I love what everyone has shared so much. And I'm here to speak to you guys about like vision and mindset and, you know, kind of wrapping this whole Superstar Surge up with that, because to me, you guys, it's everything. And I thought about this thread of vision and of mindset through every single speaker. And like, I saw it in every single one of y'all's talks. And, you know, just hearing Bonnie talk, I was thinking so much about something. I love how we're all intertwined here. When Bonnie was talking, I was thinking about something Ruth Stronner said that I have repeated 1,000 times because it just like hit the nail on the head when when somebody puts words to something that you have been trying to articulate for years. And that was, you have to care more about other people in this business than you do your own ego. Because as Bonnie was talking about sharing her story and being vulnerable, in the chat, everyone's like, I'm so scared to share my story. I'm so, I can't be vulnerable. And I'm like, you got to get over your damn self. Like, you have to get over yourself, because there are literally women dying and like falling out by the waysides with depression, with alcoholism, with postpartum depression. I mean, I was one of those girls. Like, I needed to be rescued, and I did not come into this confident. I did not come into this in shape. I did not come into this with a voice. I came into it broken. And so often your rock star coaches are going to be your broken challengers that aren't participating, that aren't showing up, and that are on the struggle bus, because you have the opportunity to breathe life and a solution into them. So you guys, coaching is what completely changed my life. I was a failed challenger for 14 months. So I was the girl. My coach actually looked it up recently. She's like, you posted 3 times in 14 months. So that was me. Don't give up on your people. Because I was a catastrophe, right? And coaching and coming into this tribe, like hearing Jamie speak, every single one of you guys speaks, being on this call with Julie, I'm like, am I really on this call? Like, are these my people? Is this my circle? Like, yes, this is my circle. What a gift. And you guys, it's not because we're all superstar diamond coaches. I felt that exact feeling, like, holy crap, are these my people? Is this my circle? On week number 1 of becoming a coach. And so again, I want to speak to a lot of new coaches that come to us and say, I haven't been on the trips that you've been on. I'm not making the income that you're making. I haven't hit the accolades. And I'm like, I had more of a story, almost more of a vision when I was a brand new baby coach or emerald, about what I was being surrounded with and where I was going, and my dreams for building a team. Before I had one coach signed up, I was talking about the trips that I wanted to go on, and the team that I wanted to build, and the financial freedom that I wanted to build. And you guys, it's actually way easier to speak of that when you don't have it, because you're not getting as judged. It's a lot harder to say, look how much money I'm making, look at all these fabulous trips, look at all my fabulous friends. People kind of can get irritated by that. So it is way easier. So I not only want to speak to you about how to craft a vision, but think about speaking that vision out on your social media, because people are going to want to be on the train. You know, one of my first diamond coach, she always says, I didn't want to be left behind. I wasn't gonna let Moira go, because I knew she had this drive and this vision and this dream, and I didn't want to be left behind, because I was speaking that vision to my brand new first baby, coach, to the couple people that were coming on my team, and through my social media. And so I am like, I literally get like that shaking excitement in my heart and my body when I speak about vision, because it is everything. And I do really want to point out that I think that you have to have in this business, to be uber successful, you have to have a balance between a business mindset and, like, I don't even know what you call it, like the inside stuff, vision, setting intention, personal development, morning practice, like all the emotional, mental stuff. And I think some people, either they have a total business head and they're looking at this as sales and numbers, and then there's no heart and they fail. Or it's like you have a bleeding heart and no business sense and you fail. You have to lean into whatever one you don't have and learn it. I really think you have to have both in this business to thrive. And so this really happened, you guys, like by accident, the whole vision thing for me that I speak on all the time. So I was on a call, I'm not even on a call. I was just listening to a YouTube video, because I used to stalk all of you top coaches before I was anybody. And Lindsay Matway talked about crafting your vision. And she said, go home and write it down. You have the opportunity in 2 to 3 years to create all the financial freedom you want and all the time freedom you want. So ask yourself this question. If you had all the money in the world, if you had all the time in the world, what would your life look like in 2 to 3 years? I follow directions. I can tell you that is why I've been successful. I follow directions all the time. I just am like, okay, this rock star person just told me to do this. I'm going to go do it. You can get on SuperStar surges. You can get on team calls. You can get on all the things. And acquiring the knowledge is going to do nothing for you unless you actually take the action and follow direction. So I went home that night, you guys. I didn't talk to 20 people for 3 weeks about, well, what do you think? And I don't know how to do this. And I'm a little confused. I've been writing for 3 weeks. I just went home and wrote the freaking thing down. It was like, well, shit, if I had all the time and the money in the world, where would I live? What would our house look like? Where would we vacation? Where would our kids go to school? Where would we summer? You know, I think that's a verb when you start to acquire some income. Where do we summer? And I started to think about other things, like the relationship that I had with my husband because of the freedom that we had, because I was taking an immense amount of stress off of his plate because I was contributing financially in big ways. I started to think about my children and the kids that they were growing up to be because of the experiences I could give them, because of the time that I could give them, because I could be there for them. Who would my children be if I became this person? Let alone who are the women, all the lives that I'm going to change, but who are we going to be as a family? And I didn't think about it, guys. I remember reading my vision after I'd like preached vision to my team for 2.5 years at our diamond retreat. And I read them my vision and they were all like, are you serious? That's it. They were like waiting for like the most poetic, beautifully written, like knock your socks off. I'm like, it's literally like a bullet point list of what I want. It fires me up. And that very first vision, you guys, I can tell you the most insane things have come true. And I think goals and visions are different, but they're intertwined, very intertwined. So my goals are in my vision. My vision usually starts out with goals because it's easy for me to say, and you guys, like hands to the heavens, I was not even an emerald, and I was like, I'm going to be a 2017 top 10 I think I even said SuperStar, like I named it something else because I didn't even know what SuperStar was, but I was like, that sounds good. SuperStar Diamond Coach. And I had seen another YouTube video. And so I said something in there about talking on stage at Summit in a panel with Carl Deichler. 9 months into coaching, Jeff Hill called me and said, Moira, we'd like for you to speak as a new coach on stage at Summit on a panel. I mean, the most insane things have come true, but this is the power of your vision. First of all, it has to be deep enough to elicit an emotional response. If you're just like, I'm a top 10 coach, SC20, whatever, like it has to get you going emotionally. It has to fire you up. And I will say, like, there are no limits here. Like, dream bigger dreams, you guys, because it is all possible. And I'm going to tangent really quickly. When I was a new coach, the first 3 months, I hit Success Club 6 by the skin of my teeth. My coach told me, it's your job to get Success Club 6. That's your goal. And I was trying to find 3 people. And it was the hardest thing I ever did in my life. And I had no idea how all these coaches were doing it. Then in month 4, I went to my first Super Saturday, and we were talking Team Cup. And so I heard on the video from these Team Cup girls that had won the previous Team Cup, and they'd hit Success Club 140 or 50 something. And all of a sudden, in an instant, my bar was raised. And I knew at that point that this changed freaking lives. And I knew that I was in a country surrounded by millions of people spending billions of dollars looking for the solution, and I had it. So I asked myself one simple question. I knew there were $1 million earners in this business, and I wanted to be one of them as an Emerald coach. And I said, if someone gave me $1 million at the end of this month, could I find 50 people? And my instant answer was yes. And the thing is, you guys, if every single one of you got $1 million check at the end of April from Carl Deichler, if you found 50 people, you could find 50 people. So where is the disconnect? Where's the gap? When you ask yourself better questions, you get better answers. And all of a sudden the question was, where am I going to find my 50 people versus where am I going to find my 3 people? And when you focus on the why, the how shows up. And my vision was that why underneath. Why did I want to find 50 people? What was that going to mean for my family? What was that going to mean for the women that I was going to bring into this team and build? Like, there was a huge passionate why under that. And this is the missing link, you guys, because you may have written down your vision. You may have a vision board, all the pretty things. None of that matters. None of it matters unless you look at it and read it every single day. Every single day. So I came into this business in very close relationship team-wise with somebody that on my like new coach training talked about the power of your why. And her husband was overseas in the military, you know, totally like risking his life and was not seeing their children being raised. I was like, whew, that's a powerful why. And that made me understand the power of a why. But my why was just a bunch of random stuff. Like, I want to send my kids to whatever school I want to send them to. I wanted freedom in the choices in my life. I wanted to be able to make the decisions I wanted to make for my children and for me, not based on financial restriction. I wanted a pool. I wanted to go on more vacations. I wanted stuff that seemed to fail like boldly in comparison to the husband that was overseas fighting for his life. And I could have talked myself out of it like, oh, my why is not powerful enough, and just gotten stuck on that. My why spoke to me. My vision spoke to me. But here's the difference. Because all of a sudden, I jumped in and went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 star very quickly. And I had to look back and go, why is it that I did that? And a lot of people go 1, 2, diamond, 1, 4, diamond, 1, 7, 2 star. Where's the disconnect? And this is what I truly believe it is, you guys. I am fanatical about my morning process. That does not mean it's complicated. At a bare minimum, I do 3, 3, 3. 3 minutes of gratitude, 3 minutes of visualization, and 3 minutes of prayer. That's it. Everyone has 9 minutes. And Tony Robbins says, if you don't have 10 minutes, you don't have a life. So there are many mornings where it's 3, 3, 3. Gratitude, visualization, and prayer. That's it. That's all I got time for. But most days, I sit down and I read my vision. I read the exact thing almost word for word. It's been tweaked because a lot of my vision has come true. But I read my vision every morning. So when 9 o'clock hits and I've gotten the kids off to school and it's time to power hour, I'm not like, oh, I'm just going to like scroll and respond to some messages, check into my team page. I am like on it like a freaking boss because I know what is at stake. It is my family's future. It is the relationship with my husband. It is how we are going to retire. It is my children's lives. It is my grandchildren's lives. It is the women on my team that are depending on me, whether I even had a team or not. There was a lot riding on that power hour. And so I show up every single day. I don't want to show up, you guys, every single day. I don't want to post on social media every single day. But what we do is really freaking easy for what we get in a really short amount of time. I was talking to one of my coaches the other day and I said, this is where you'll be in 2 to 3 years. And she said, it just seems so far off. And I was like, oh, I'm about to come like across the table. It is not that far off. Like most people work for 30 to 40 years to acquire what I have accomplished in the last less than 4 years. And the way I always looked at it is I would rather sacrifice the short run life for the long run life. I would much rather sleep less, you know, not go on date nights, not watch reality TV and build $1 million business than, you know, be kind of half-assed in this business and take 10 years to get where I knew I could get in 3 or 4. So you've got to have that vision. You have to read it every single day. I have no idea what time it is, 7:27 or 8:27. So let me wrap with this because I think it's really important. Your vision is everything. But going back, thank you, going back to MM100 right here. But going back to like how goals fit into this. So goals are just as important. And so my team has monthly goals. You know, everybody posts in the team page your monthly goals. But I am really big on not only having that long-term vision and those monthly goals, but weekly goals. And this is how simple this is. And this is the example I always give. So I have dozens of people on my team that throw up SC20 or SC40 or whatever it is at the top of the month. and never, ever, ever come close to hitting it. And like, you guys either got to change your goals or work more. Like, why do you keep putting up the same goal and not hitting it? Like, that's not what we're here to do. And so if your goal is SC20, all you got to do, guys, there's 4 weeks in a month. Chop it in fourths. That means when you write down, I'm going to be at SC20 on Monday the 1st, that's what you write. Guess what? Your butt needs to be at SC5 by Friday. That's the only way you're going to get there. You have got to reverse engineer that and know the cutoff point. That means I got to be at 5 by this Friday. That means I need to be at 10 by next Friday. I need to be at 15 on the third Friday. That'll get me to 20 by the fourth Friday. And like, there's a huge disconnect there. So I look at that. I will plug this because all of this is in the Rise Up Planner, which I wrote last year for coaches. But this is so powerful because I've told this story a lot in regards to this planner. I was having a really good month. I am not a high success club point earner at all. I'm usually like 40 or 50. And I can't remember if it was January or February, but I had a goal for SC70. And it was the third week of the month. And on Monday, because it has a place for you to write your weekly goal in every single week, that Monday I had written SC60 by the end of the week. And I was driving to a retreat with my husband. I was going to Ashley Smith's retreat, and we got in the car on a Friday. I was in the passenger seat with my coffee. I was like so looking forward to this Friday drive through the mountains. And I was just like chit-chatting for a while. And then all of a sudden I glanced over in my planner and I saw SC60. And I was at SC52. I think I was 2 points higher than I was on Monday when I wrote SC60. And I said to my husband, what time are we getting there? What's our ETA? And he said, we'll be there in 3.5 hours. And I got to work. And I knew that I had to hit my goal because I hold myself accountable to that. My goal was SC60 by the end of the week. I had to sell 4 challenge packs in 3.5 hours. My activities over the next 3.5 hours looked radically different because I had that weekly goal that translates to my long-term vision. I had that weekly goal defined versus I would have worked for those 3.5 hours, you guys. You know how we do that? It means I would have scrolled social media and like checked in on what Ruth was doing and like seen what, that's what I would have done. Not very IPA, income producing activities. I dialed in my income producing activities over the next 3.5 hours. And I got my SC60 by the time we got out of the car because here was the other vision. I wanted to get out of that car and enjoy my weekend with my husband and not stress. And so I got it done because I had a goal and I had a vision. So it is everything, you guys. If there's anything I can tell you to do for success in your business, it's write down your vision, read it every single day, That's it for me.
Okay, for a minute there, I couldn't unmute myself, which just would have been par for the course for just the end of the Zoom. Oh my gosh, this has been so solid, you guys, and I just so appreciate everyone's flexibility and patience. Thank you so much to our speakers tonight. Jamie kicked us off, and Dara talked about personal development, which was good. Ruth and Jessica, we had, talking about those 4 vital behaviors. Bonnie came in, talked about social media, and then Moira, of course, with mindset. And I hope that you guys have taken so many notes on this. And I think that even with the technical difficulties, and also just a side note, do you know whose team couldn't get on the surge tonight? This girl's, for some reason. Yep, my team is sitting over somewhere on another Zoom line, not able to get on the call, but it's all good. We'll watch the recording. And what I think this whole experience teaches us, because so many people wait to invite till they have the perfect invitation. They wait to post a picture till it's the perfect picture. They're looking for the perfect personal development. They're looking for the perfect before and after picture. They're looking for something that's elusive and it's never going to happen. Tonight, I organized a Zoom. People graciously shared their time. It was a hot mess for a long time, and we're all still here. And it's still fine. And tomorrow I'm going to get up and figure out how to make it better. And we're going to do it again in another way the next time, because that's what life is. It's not perfect. It's not going to be picture perfect. It's not going to go right the very first time. And we're going to look at it, assess it, and get better. Why would the business be any different than this Zoom or anything else in life. It's the same. So your invitation doesn't have to be perfect. Your picture doesn't have to be perfect. None of it has to be perfect. You just have to do. Because the only way you can fail at this business is by doing nothing. It's by doing nothing. So even if the Zoom wasn't perfect tonight, we gave it a go. We'll make it better the next time. Just like you'll make an invitation better the next time, a picture better the next time, whatever it is, you'll keep trying, you'll keep evolving, and you'll keep growing. And the coach that you are next week, next month, 3 months from now, 6 months from now will be different than the coach you are today, because you will keep growing and evolving. And I think that's one of the most beautiful parts about this business. So thank you for your flexibility and your patience as we worked all this out. Huge thanks to the speakers for sharing their time with us tonight. Please tag them on social media. Please give them a shout out on Instagram. If you wrote down something specific, like I just wrote down Moira's IPA, income producing activity, among all the other notes I took. That's brilliant. I don't know why I'm not using that. I'm totally using that from now on. If you wrote down something specific from them, tag them in that quote. Let them know that that particular nugget spoke to you, and share the recording later with your team. Share your notes with your team, but most of all, share this opportunity that we have in our lives that we found with every person you come into contact with, because if it's changed your life, someone out there in your life is waiting for you to change theirs too. So thanks so much for being on tonight. Thanks again to our speakers, and let's make it a great week. Have a great Super Saturday weekend too. Thanks, you guys.